Okay, to be very honest, I have no idea what's inside this thing, and I'm not going to reveal the other side because it has my address and full name on it. And I've done enough stupid reveals. Totally my fault because I was careless. I have a better X-Acto knife, a newer and sharper one, but I don't want to waste its blade for a trivial purpose like this. This is also the first use of my new 3D printed bench mounted camera stand thing, which explains the weird angle. Okay, I know what this is. Well, good thing this thing turned up today. I placed the order yesterday. Oh wait, what's this? Whoever packaged this has a very good sense of humor. Thanks. Although I don't exactly have a bathtub, but should do fine. Comes in a decent box. Lots of QR codes and stuff. No invoice, no bill, which is a good thing. I don't have to hide anything. This thing is already really impressive. So, okay, this thing is a 3D printer control board. This one is specifically meant for the Ender 3. And I kind of blew up my extruder motor driver because the filament, the nozzle was clogged and I pushed the extruder too far. So, well, it's on me. So I got one of these boards, 3,700 rupees. Well worth it because this thing has an STM32 on it. And if I remember correctly, this thing is also supposed to have a BL touch input somewhere. This one? It says something stop, fan, X stop, Y stop, Z stop, USB port, SD card slot. It's supposed to fit into the Ender 3. Pin compatible. A nice, is this 20 or is this 02? Something amp automotive fuse that I really can't seem to get off. A heat sink, which also seems to be basically, what do you call these things? No idea. Fastened into place. I will have to do a little bit of figuring out, but I think I know where to go for help. Should be easy. Hopefully, fingers crossed that I don't blow anything up. As you can clearly see here, my printer is an absolute mess. I've taken the hot end apart and there's still that clog that I tried to get rid of without success. It's like a bunch of filament has randomly hardened inside and stuck. So I tried all sorts of things to get it out unsuccessfully. So I think we can forget about that for now. I hope I remember which screw does what. Otherwise I'm in trouble. It looks pretty obvious. These two held the actual heater and this heat sink looking thing to the x-axis, and then there were two more that two more that held the fan, both the fans in place, and then three that basically held the computer compartment cover in place. Okay, I have that figured out, thank god. And now I can take this thing apart. Maybe I need a better angle. I'll just move my 3D printed phone mount stand thing. I just dropped a part. Oops. There we go. Oops. Maybe I should have printed this thing in ABS. But why ABS when you can PLA? Okay, I didn't tighten the screws enough. Don't collapse on me. Okay. Oops. This thing is going to take a little getting used to. Anyways, I've taken the stepper motor connectors off, and now I can attack the other ones which are basically hot glued in place. Not nice. I might have to take the whole controller board out. Everything uses hex nuts, which I guess is a good thing. Two of them. Okay. Super tight. I'm liking this tripod. I've decided it's not large and unwieldy like my old one. I mean the floor mounted, that's not the right word. An actual tripod kind of tripod. I don't think this thing counts as a tripod. It doesn't have three legs. I'll just call it a clampable phone stand thing. Still doesn't want to come out. Okay, there's another one. 3 screws. 4 screws. They've hidden them well. Okay, finally it's loose. Right. Okay, it's out. You can see the hot glue. Not a very nice move. Disgusting, but the nice thing about hot glue is that it comes off easily and cleanly to a certain extent. Just force my tweezers down this bunch of connectors. So I guess stabbing the hot glue and pulling it out is a viable strategy. I think that got rid of most of it. Okay, this. Everything is labeled, thankfully. I've never really taken a 3D printer apart or assembled one. This thing came mostly pre-assembled. I just had to do some mechanical stuff and connect the stepper motors together. I mean, to the respective connectors. Okay, I have to deal with this screw terminals. I have the right tool for the job, but I doubt if I have the right expertise. I also don't really have a way of testing if the motor controllers are fried, but I'm pretty sure the extruder one is. Oh, and of course I need to vacuum this. There's a lot of dust. Dust is not nice. Okay, great. Everything out. Here's the old controller, and this is the chip that is probably dead. No signs of anything having blown up, but meh. High time I upgraded. I guess I can sell this as a partially working board for parts, maybe. Anyways, time to vacuum. Yuck. So here's our pet overpowered vacuum cleaner. I guess I'll just get in there and okay, so I have my phone clamp hooked up to my laptop. Hooked up to, no, that's not the right word. Clamped to my laptop, which is sort of handy because I can just do this. Well, apparently there are some formalities to take care of. I guess this board needs some programming of some kind. I have no idea what to do, so I'll just... What was this thing called? SKRE3 Mini. There's a lot. I guess just go for some random thing. Oh, nice. They have the rubber ducky as well. Just put it on top of my water bottle. Right. So 32-bit board upgrade for the Ender 3 and Ender 5 printers. Form factor, layout, exact match, blah blah blah. Drop-in replacement. A blazing fast 32-bit ARM Cortex processor. Well, joke's on you because Pi Peak was faster. No need to flash a bootloader or tinker with settings, just hook it up, turn on and start 3D printing. Well, I did want to get BL Touch set up. I still haven't gotten my BL Touch thing yet. And I guess I still haven't found the right connector, by the way. Meh. I guess it's this one. That says EO stop over here. It's a nice dense board. I guess that's because of this obviously metal heatsink, which seems to be unremovable. Would have loved to see what kind of stepper controllers they had. Anyways, moving on. $150 plus price tag. Budget family of SKR boards from Big Tree Tech. Well, true, this thing wasn't very expensive, but still a sizable amount, which I was thankfully able to afford. Let me see. 5 times the processing speed, twice the flash memory. Auto bed leveling is something I really need to do because poor bed leveling is probably what killed my printer in the first place. I keep over leveling the bed, which causes the extruder motor to lose steps sometimes because it can't push out filament the way it wants to. So the driver probably overheated and died. My bad. Full color graphical displays, no thank you. This is a printer, not a whatever. Blah blah blah. Well, it would be nice to have TMC steppers because I think they have a silent step or something like that. Well, I really hope this thing has those TMC drivers. BL Touch is definitely something I need to enable. SD firmware 32-bit TFT. Installation steps. Okay, this is what I was looking for. Thank you. XYZE as expected. SD card, USB, LED pixel lights, no thank you. LCD screen, hot end thermistor, bed thermistor, end stops, fan fans, I guess my board is ever so slightly different. It is different, but I guess the placement is the same. Fans, hot end. I don't have the hot end fans. Okay, there are 3 fan connectors, just different from the ones in the picture. Bed power, power supply. No, it doesn't have the stepper mode. Does it? No idea. Doesn't say anything about what do you call it? The BL touch thing. Um, you know what? I think it would be easier to just plug this thing in to my printer, hopefully getting the right pin out. I think it's V3. I hope, fingers crossed. Yes, this is it. Yep, same thing, exact same thing. Down to the color of the fuse and this red jumper, which I don't know. I don't know what it's for. Blah blah blah. Original Ender 3 owners, yes. Ender 3 V2 maybe. Right, getting started. A couple of tips. Observe polarity. Polarity doesn't matter. Notes. DC power connector, limit switches, hot end, fans, heated bed, stepper, BL touch, whatever this is. It will spin in an opposite direction. Well, I guess we can figure that out. I don't know. Picture, please. Oh, that was easy. Right. BL touch 5 pin and 3 plus 2 pin. Let's see. These, I think. Right. Okay. Z stop. It says. Okay. That makes sense. But my Ender 3. Okay. It depends on Z stop for bed leveling. That makes sense. I don't need the Z limit switch anymore if I have a BL touch, but not for now. Right, so we flashed through the SD card. Makes sense. Alright, I think I'll just hook this up first and then see what happens. I hope it doesn't blow up because I spent a lot of money on this. Fingers crossed. It's always nice to record the first power up of anything in case it blows up, because at least you can watch money go up in smoke. So I've connected up power, hopefully in the right polarity. I checked. It's the same as the old one. I hope. I think. Anyways, 3, 2, 1. Well, I did get it working. Of course, you get an error because nothing is connected. Different, what do you call it? Buzzer. Oops. No media. About printer. Board info. Nice. Thermistors. Printer info. Right. Main. Info screen. Motion. Well, it's pretty bed leveling. I don't know what bed tramming is. Oops. Done. Oops. Alright. Configuration. Advanced controller fan, preheat PLA. Let's see. 185, 45 fan speed, 100. That's nice. Okay, well, so I didn't blow this thing up basically. That's a relief. So I guess I can connect everything else up and see how well it performs then. Can't wait to get the BL touch, I guess. Another first time. I think I have everything wired up correctly. So let's see. Right, okay, so we have the temperature sensors working, and I think we have the motors working as well. I don't know why this place is blank. Move axis, move X 1 mm. It does move and it doesn't make a single noise. Well, that can be explained by something else. All the way down here, TMC drivers. Uh, Driver current. Interesting. I won't mess with that. Stepping mode. Stealth job. Well, good thing we have uh, TMC stuff set up. I mean, this thing is already a lot more responsive. This thing is and silent, responsive and silent. I mean, I guess apart from the fans, I don't really have anything to worry about. Let me see. I think the y-axis was the most noisy, or was it Z? Let's see. Absolutely silent. I like it. Well, that was a success. I haven't connected the extruder, and I'm not going to make the mistake of trying to plug in a stepper motor with the power connected. Apparently, that's not nice. Wait for the power to die. And now plug this in. No sparks. Nice. Let's see. Okay, extruder hot and too cold. Proceed. Thank you very much. I know what I'm doing. Closer. Nope, no movement. Nope. Or did I connect it wrong? No, I think I have the right one. Well, I think my extruder motor is dead, and there's only one way to find out. I can swap the two cables after I power this thing off. I hope the driver isn't dead. It's certainly hot. I can feel it, kind of. Get that out. So we've tested all the other axes and they seem to work. Okay, so extruder setup to this was the x-axis, right? Nothing? Well, that's weird. I'll have to do some debugging. Well, now I have the heater set to, the hot end set to 200 degrees Celsius. And now extruder magically works. So, well, looks like I got this thing up and running again. The first print I'm going to do is probably going to be the, what do you call it, adapter for the BL touch thing, which goes here. So let me close everything up and go ahead. Finally, I got it back in action, and this was the first thing I printed afterwards. As you can see, the first layer is absolutely trash. I'm used to much better results with my over leveling scheme, but that's what got me into trouble in the first place. So the problem turned out to be number one, over leveling the bed, which caused the nozzle to clog up like crazy. I got this out of the nozzle. I put a little white filament in there for the sake of testing. It got stuck, formed a nice big lump, and well, the rest is history. I had to cut up some of the Teflon tubing, which was fine. I still had a lot left over, and there was my throat. There was a lot of hardened filament left inside. So thanks to my over extrusion, molten filament kept building up, and at one point it just hardened and clogged the whole thing. Not nice. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I am now waiting for my BL Touch clone, which is why I made this adapter. It's supposed to fit in here. So hopefully my bed leveling issues will be solved. Assuming I can tune it. My throat. And now I have to clean this mess up. Strange box. I don't know what will happen if you scan the QR code. But I finally ended up getting my BL Touch clone. This was the first thing that struck me. The actual BL Touch thing fell off, but this thing that looks precious, I think it's the probe. It's made of plastic and it has a metal piece inside it. Not very sharp, but let's try not to lose that. This is the magic module itself. It's actually quite heavy. Heavier than expected. Oh, it's a spare probe. I get it now. I still haven't figured out how this thing works. But whatever. It comes with a few mounting accessories, which is nice. Should fit my printer, hopefully. I did have to modify the 3D printed adapter that I made. Nothing else. No instructions, nothing. 1.5 meters of cable, obviously. Good thing that it came with it. Okay, this looks like silicone. I might be wrong. No, I don't think it's silicone, but it's very bendy anyway. So is this. All right. There doesn't seem to be a way of adapting this to this. Okay, wait, they have provided a long header kind of thing. This should work. Let's try to maintain orientation. Gold plated, I like it. Barely fits. Not bad. So I guess the next step is to figure out how to mount this correctly and enable the firmware. Let's see how long that takes me. Of course, being an electrical engineer, I couldn't control the temptation of taking this thing apart, and God, it is seriously involved. There's an entire Atmel microcontroller inside, a bunch of SOT 23s, some obviously diodes. I guess it's some kind of a full bridge coil driver. It has to be because this probe can go in and out. No jokes intended. So, I think where's the other one? There. I think this is a magnet which I can easily test using my collection of magnets. I have a bunch of neodymium ones from the railgun era, which ended up being unused. So here's a neodymium magnet, and yep, it is a magnet with a specific polarity. Along the central axis. So on one side, it really doesn't want to, well, it repels, and on the other side, it attracts. That makes sense. This could have been a simple iron core of some kind, but then you would need a lot of current in the coil to attract it. Having a magnet makes it easier, so you don't have to run so much current through this. So it's a full bridge that drives a single coil that can push this probe in and out based on the polarity of the current through the coil. That explains it. And I think the way the actual detection is done, oops, is that you fully extend the probe like this, and it takes a certain amount of current to maintain it there. Not yeah, basically maintain it there. So the moment it touches something, there's a force, and I guess that's seen as some kind of change in current in the coil, back EMF, whatever. It's been a while since I did electromagnetics of any kind. So the board detects that somehow, and if it's touched something. I have no idea about the resolution of this thing, but I guess it must be good if it's being used in a 3D printer. So I have to be careful not to rip the coil out of the board, which I don't think is going to happen. So let me quickly put this back before I damage it. It's a reasonably tight fit. I had to struggle a little bit to pull it out. And now I'm struggling to put it back in. It's held in place by this one tiny screw. Oops. Classic. Well, this is not as easy as I thought it would be. Okay, at last. I guess I need a sharper screwdriver. A screwdriver tip to be more specific. Let's try this one. Better. Okay, still. Anyway, it's in place. Kind of. Maybe I shouldn't have taken it apart. Okay, reassuringly clicks into place. I hope the coil isn't dead. The thing was secured to the coil using some tape, but I had to take it out. Oh well, it is now time to mount this on my printer somehow. Let's see how that goes. So it turns out I was wrong about the way the sensing is done. One of those extra SOT 23 packages is probably a Hall sensor of some kind. Seems like a very likely explanation. I guess from this angle my hands will be blocking what I'm doing. Anyways, this is the rubber silicone protective cover for the nozzle, which I clearly forgot to put on last time. So this is the best chance to right my wrongs and put it in. It's not like anybody is going to reach out and touch the nozzle when it's hot, but you can never tell. Knowing myself, I'll probably end up doing it. Might as well put it on for the sake of safety. There we go. So it goes on approximately like this. Well, if only I had known I could put it on without taking the entire hot end of the x-axis, but too late. Now I had to cut out a part of the 3D print to make sure that the screw hole for this fan protective case thing wouldn't interfere with the fit of the adapter. Okay, there we go. Okay, got that in. Much easier than expected, which is always a good thing. And now for the BL Touch itself, it comes with a bunch of accessories. I don't know what the springs are for. I guess it's something to do with leveling. Oh boy. So it goes on like this. I think I can't put it this way because then the wires, so it'll have to be this way. I guess it's independent to direction. We could calibrate this exactly to nozzle height perhaps. Don't explode. I don't see how else to use this, so I'll just go ahead and put it in. Oops. Yes, no. I need a better position to work in. Or maybe I'll just do one screw at a time. The furthest, the one facing away from me is going to be the most problematic, clearly. Oh, and of course, nothing said about tightening these screws, which is going to be super awkward unless I move the entire Z axis up. Right, I got it up. Now to move my camera. The problem with the Z axis is it does this, so bed leveling kind of breaks. So I shouldn't be pushing it up or down. I should be using the screw to move it up and down. So I move it up and down a few times just to get rid of this. Doesn't seem to prefer any position, particular position. The springs might be a mistake though. This thing is probably going to move around a lot. So I'll just tighten it all the way. Who cares about the springs? That's about, that's as far as it will go. A bigger mistake would be to use super glue and fasten the nuts to the printed frame. I'm not going to do that either. Okay, I guess it's stiff enough. And now for some cable management. I will have to use my regular tripod. I don't think this one has excuse me, enough reach. Okay, a wider, better angle. Now if I remember correctly, this thing was supposed to go in place of the X stop, so I can get rid of that. First goes the computer bay. Oops. Right. Okay. Guess what? I have no idea. I cannot simply wing it. I did hear something about configuration files, and of course I have no idea how to set that up. I'll try to follow the color code here. So let's not mess that up. I did spend a very decent amount of money on this. Would be a shame if it blew up on the very first try. So the wiring goes this way. Well, there does seem to be a lot more wiring than necessary, but I guess it's a good thing. Comes in like this. Right, now I have to figure out where to put this. I mean, where to plug these wires in. And then of course this thing needs a firmware update. So the Z axis limit switch can go. That's redundant, we don't need that. Getting it off is not going to be very easy. it's out for good, I hope. It's basically a limit switch on a fancy PCB with screw holes and stuff. There's that. So now I'll go and figure out how to set this thing up. Another one of those power up tests. I ended up connecting the 3D touch thing to the can you see it? Z probe header in this way, and I can only hope that the pinout is common to all modules because I found a lot of conflicting information on the internet. So here goes. Okay, I think it was supposed to do that. So all set, I guess. Once more. Okay, nice. So that worked. Now, software. So, software ready. Turned out that there was a bug in the Marlin firmware and I had to go through a lot of links and I found a bin file in one of them. I put that in and now the firmware is updated. It recognizes the BL touch. So I just finished leveling the bed and storing the z-axis offset, and I couldn't enter negative values on this thing, so I had to use Pronterface on my computer. That worked out. Z-axis offset was minus 0.4 apparently. So I am now going to print a bed level testing thing. I have the hot end well hot, so I can remove this piece of broken filament, or maybe just use it. Nah, I won't take that risk. So I'll reload the filament and let's see how well that print goes. So how did it go? Well, um, I can't say I'm the most satisfied. At least the prints come off easily. The bed addition was pretty pathetic, I'd say. It's like hardly stuck to the bed. I don't know if it's a problem with the Z offset or if it's simply the fact that it didn't store the bed leveling settings. I could try again with a smaller Z offset. That's the most sensible option. Since this test takes only 15 minutes and hardly consumes any filament. Oops. Drop one. Right, I guess changing the Z offset. Minus 1.5. Store settings. Go back to main info screen. Print from media bed. Okay, let's see how it goes this time. That still didn't cut it. You can clearly see the quality differences between here and here. This one turned out super good. I guess it's perfect. So maybe the bed leveling settings don't stick. I will try leveling the bed again, storing settings and running the same print once again and seeing if that makes any difference. Well, clearly that didn't cut it. It goes from very good, quite decent to very bad. And well, turn this thing on. I guess I have to store the values in EEPROM, and that requires a little bit of G code apparently. I don't think I can do it this way. Store settings? No. BL touch. Ah, that wasn't it. Set home offsets, not that. Probe offsets, no. Initialize EEPROM. I wonder what that does. I hope I didn't lose any of my values, but well, at least I got this 3D touch thing set up, which is good. My printer is back in action and very silent. So I hope I figure this thing out soon. I'm losing patience. I don't think I'll be recording anymore. So yeah, printer upgrade successful. So easier prints in the future.